In this video, we're going to show you the installation of an Epoxy Plus Designer Metallic Epoxy Floor System. This installation is a little bit different than many of the other videos that you've seen. Instead of taking two colors and combining them evenly on the floor, we're going to take a base color of titanium, spread it on the floor, and then add our pearl accents to it and let it flow, as you see in these pictures here on your screen. And in order to accomplish that, we're going to use our EPE 100 Designer Metallic Epoxy, and we're going to combine it with our metallic epoxy pigments. The first step is to combine the metallic epoxy pigments with the A portion of our Designer Metallic Epoxy, and we pre-mix that. We mix it very thoroughly with an electric drill and a mixer, combining all of the metallic pigment for about 10 minutes. Now, after the A and the B portion of the epoxy has been mixed together as per the instructions, you see it's poured out randomly on the floor. So here's the titanium epoxy being poured out on the floor at a rate of about 60 square feet per gallon. You can see that the floor has already been prepped. It's already been primed with our EPE 300 primer in black. We like the black because it really enhances the color of the metallic pigments. So the floor has been primed in black. It's been allowed to dry thoroughly according to the instructions, and now the metallic coat is being applied. So as you saw, the titanium epoxy was spread on the floor randomly. We're spreading it now with the magic trowel at a rate of about 60 square feet per gallon. This is going to give us a nice volume on the floor to allow our secondary color, the pearl pigment, in order to be able to flow properly on the floor. But the epoxy here is being spread, covering the entire floor. You see one technician has already started to use a mini roller to roll the edges, and the other technician now is using an 18-inch roller and rolling the epoxy just to get a nice even coat across the entire floor, again at the rate of about 60 square feet per gallon. So you can see that he's continuing to roll the floor with his 18-inch roller. He's rolling it in different directions at a moderate speed, and this is just to help spread the epoxy around the room. Again, it's been installed at the rate of about 60 square feet per gallon, and you also notice that he's wearing spike shoes, which allows him to be able to walk in the epoxy, and the little pinholes that's created will close up on their own as the epoxy continues to flow. So as we mentioned, this floor is going to be a two-color combination. Here the titanium is being put down, but it's going to be highlighted with pearl. And so what they're doing now is they're installing about 360 square feet of titanium epoxy, and then they'll stop and they'll begin the installation of the pearl epoxy on top of the titanium epoxy. So here we can see that the pearl is now being mixed. It's being mixed in a small batch of about 3/4 of a gallon because this is just a highlight color that's going to be going on top of the titanium. So it's mixed in the same fashion as the 3-gallon kit was mixed. The pigments are being mixed in the A portion. Once they're thoroughly mixed, the B part will be combined, and then it will be ready to be installed on the floor. So here's the room where we started. You can see that the titanium has already started to settle out, and now the addition of the pearl is being added on top. And about 15 to 20 minutes has gone by since the titanium epoxy first went down on the floor. And the EPE 100 is made for this type of an application because of its extended working time. It gives you enough time to be able to do these types of techniques on your floor without having to worry about the epoxy setting up on you. For more information on the working time of the epoxy, please visit our website at www.epoxyplus.com. But you can see that the pearl pigment has been spread out here on the floor very much in a random fashion. Larger blobs of it, if you will, have been spread out on the floor. And now that same tool, that magic trowel that spread the titanium epoxy on the floor, is now being used to blend in the pearl. And you'll see this is a technique that is being used to purposely not put the pearl pigment on evenly like we've done perhaps in many of the other videos that you've seen. It's being blended just randomly on the floor. The big blotches of it are being broken up with the magic trowel, and you can see that not every portion of the floor is being covered with the pearl pigment. Now, as you look at this floor, you'll see that it really isn't attractive at this point, and that's exactly what we're looking for. We're going to let the epoxy do the work. We're going to let the movement of the epoxy move around the pearl pigment to create the finished look that we showed you at the beginning of the video, and we'll show you some more after pictures once we get done. But this process continues throughout the floor. Again, it's not a large amount of pearl that's been added to the 6 gallons of titanium that's been put on the floor thus far. Only about 3/4 of a gallon of the pearl is being added. Now, the pearl pigment has already been troweled out with the magic trowel, and now he's come back with a mini roller, and he's just using it to break up any hard lines or hard edges that he sees, just manipulating the pearl pigment just a little bit more, fading it out, blending it in just a little bit more till he gets the desired look that he's after. So that's the process for this particular technique. The first half is done, and now we'll repeat the process on the second part of the floor. Now, as you can see, this technique is not very difficult at all. It creates a much more dramatic look on the floor, but the key is to use two colors that are far enough apart where you're going to see that dramatic difference in color, in shade and tone from one color to the other. So here the titanium is a medium to dark color, and then you have our pearl color, which is a very slight off-white color, and the difference in those two shades and tones creates the dramatic look that you're going to see on the floor at the end of the video. Now this is just one technique using one color combination. There are so many different things that you can do with these floors, and that's really the beauty behind them. You can really let your imagination run wild using different techniques, different color combinations. Again, this is titanium and pearl. If you'd like to see a particular color combination done, send us an email at sales@epoxyplus.com and let us know what color combinations you would like to see done in a video. We'll make the video and we'll put it up on the website. So again, that's sales@epoxyplus.com, where you can make the request for various color combinations that you'd like to see done in a video. So as we mentioned before, the possibilities are really endless when it comes to what you can create with the EPE 100 Designer Metallic epoxy. These floors are really a work of art. Each one is unique, each one is different. This is just one particular technique that can be created with the designer metallic epoxy. Its long flow time allows you to be able to create these very unique looks. You can see here, this is about 35 minutes since we started, and you can see how that pearl pigment is really flowing and creating a really unique, beautiful look. So here we are the next day. Here is the result of the designer metallic epoxy floor that we created using titanium and pearl. You can see the beautiful one-of-a-kind result using the technique that we demonstrated in this video. If you have any questions or need to order product, you can visit us on our website at www.epoxyplus.com.